Now, before in 2020 and I believe 2016 and 2012, when they did the last halving, there was no such thing as a Bitcoin ETF. All right, good morning, everybody. Today, I want to talk about something that I've been wanting to talk about for a while now. Okay, it's not going to happen for another 4 years, so that's why I wanted to touch on it today. And no, it's not a solar eclipse, it's the Bitcoin halving event. Okay, so basically what happens is they take the reward of mining one Bitcoin now and they cut it in half, right? And so basically we'll get to that, exactly how much they're going to be rewarded. But first we got to understand what a Bitcoin is. And this will just be a quick, brief summary of what it is, right? So Bitcoin is basically digital gold. So people use their computers to mine it. And basically the way that they mine it is by solving algorithms with their computers, right? Because it's all done through cryptography. So they'll basically be decoding different things that were encoded, so different transactions and whatnot, and basically the Bitcoin blockchain will reward them with, I believe it's 6 Bitcoin now, right? That's once they're complete a full transaction, but it basically takes a lot of time and energy to actually do that. So there is that element, and that's why they get rewarded with so much. So now a singular Bitcoin will run you about 70,000 US dollars. Right now, why is it worth that? That is a great question. Now, basically, Bitcoin is worth whatever somebody's willing to pay for it, really. So I guess that number is now 70,000. But how did we get there? Obviously, no one's just saying, hey, buy this for 70,000. Okay, let me buy it. No, nobody's saying that. The reason that it is worth that is because there is only 21 million coins left to be mined, right? Right now, I think there's only 1.9 million left of that 21 million. So there's a total supply of 21 million, only 1.9 million coins left to mine. So that's why it is worth so much. Now, what can you do with Bitcoin? Well, you can't really do much with it quite yet, but there are talks that in the future it will basically be a decentralized currency that people will use. So there's going to be no more borders on the different currencies, right? So you know how you have Canadian, you have USD, you got pesos, you got pounds, you got euros, all this stuff. Basically, they're going to want to wipe it all out and just use cryptocurrency to transact, which I gotta say is kind of a smart idea. I kind of like that idea because nobody wants to be traveling and, exchanging currencies and doing business in different currencies. Like, no, I don't want any part of that. Let's talk about this halving event. Okay, what is it and why is it such a big deal? Well, as I just said, that basically the way that it works is that a computer does these algorithms and solves equations and then is rewarded with a Bitcoin. It is basically going to make it harder for miners to solve these equations and basically get a reward. So they'll be doing a lot more work to get half the amount of reward. Now you're probably wondering, what the hell? That doesn't sound like a good deal. Well, it kind of is, you know what I mean? Because now basically Bitcoin is getting a little bit more sparse to come across because it's not going to be there all the time and readily available for that much longer, right? So that's why they're doing this, to make it a little bit more difficult, to prolong its life cycle, right? So as of right now, once a computer solves an algorithmic problem, they get rewarded with, I believe it's 6.5 Bitcoins, which is pretty sweet. But once this halving event occurs, they will now get 3, I think it's like 3.2 Bitcoins for the same amount of effort put into mining that singular Bitcoin. So what does this mean for Bitcoin itself, right? Well, basically that means that the supply will be cut in half, and if the supply keeps up with the demand currently, there will not be enough Bitcoin for everybody to go around. You know what I mean? So then that means that one singular Bitcoin is worth double the amount, right? So since there's half the supply, but the same amount of demand for Bitcoin, that means that there will be a doubling in price. So to acquire 1 Bitcoin, it will be worth double. Now that is why everybody is talking about this event, because it is basically doubling the price of Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Because they're cutting the supply in half. That's why people are loading on it right now before the event, because basically after the event they are predicting a double. Now I want to pop up this little graph right here, and basically that graph is showing you from, I believe it's 2020 to 2023 or 2024 now we're in, where there was a little bit of a shakeout and then it popped to another level. Right now I believe that we're going to see one more shakeout in the next few days here. And I believe that that would be a solid time to start a position. Now, this is not financial advice. This is not, I'm not telling you go and buy this. I'm just saying what I'm doing. I believe that in the coming week, you'll get a nice little shakeout, a little position where you can start and you can buy it. Now, I want to also say another thing in terms of why this is going to be so huge, okay? Now, before in 2020 and I believe 2016 and 2012, when they did the last halving, there was no such thing as a Bitcoin ETF, right? So now there is a Bitcoin ETF, which will now bring more retail investors into this market, right? Before they didn't have this. Before it was just basically like, you had to start a Coinbase wallet and this and that and learn how to like transfer the money over, blah, blah, blah. No, now people can buy it directly in their investor account or buy the ETF. Basically, it tracks Bitcoin the exact same. And so that's why I think that you're going to see a huge amount of demand enter in the market and basically almost allowing for it to double, right? Because now we actually have almost double the demand, because there's now 2 avenues at which you can buy Bitcoin, right? The ETF or Coinbase. What I will be doing is loading up on that into the news, because I believe it will run up into the news as well. Also, here's another little side play that you could do, right? Now, I'm not promoting anything here. I'm not saying go and do this, but I'm saying that this might be a decent play, right? So there are Bitcoin mining companies on the stock exchange, right? So this means that you could technically short these stocks if you want to. Now, the reason I say that is because now their production cost doubles, because it's going to be twice as difficult to mine a Bitcoin, right? And they will basically be using more of the power to actually mine that, and they won't get as much in return. And basically, it would be very interesting to see how the market reacts to that, considering that they will basically be making a little less money and putting out a little more money. So I believe that they might sell the shit out of some of these stocks. Now, one that I will be looking at is HUT, H-U-T, and I believe there's another one called Riot or something like that as well. So I might look at those, but I don't know if I'll do that because I don't like shorting the market, but I will basically be loading up on Bitcoin. I can guarantee you guys that. All right, thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.